Hello, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Welcome back to your 18 Now What? I'm Dr. Catherine Gilstein, and I am here to help you navigate real life money decisions without confusion, stress, or regret. So, today I want to talk about the power of starting over. So, this is something that almost everyone experiences at some point in life, but very few people discuss it openly. Starting over. Starting over can happen because of a career change, a relationship ending, a move to a new city, the loss of a loved one, retirement, or simply reaching a point where you realize the life you've been living no longer aligns with the life that you want. So the truth is that starting over is rarely comfortable. So most of us are taught to value certainty. We want plans, guarantees, predictable outcomes. We want to know that if we take a risk, it will work out exactly as we hope. But life doesn't operate that way. We all know that. I always say, we plan and God laughs. Some of the most meaningful chapters of our lives begin with uncertainty. So think about every major transition that you've experienced. So the first day at a new job, moving into a new home, starting a new relationship, maybe going back to school or launching a business. None of these experiences came with any certainty at all. What they came with was possibility. And possibility is often disguised as discomfort. So many people spend years staying in situations that no longer serve them simply because they fear what comes next. Do not let fear stop you. The known feels safer than the unknown, even when the known is making them unhappy. But growth rarely happens in places where we remain comfortable. Growth occurs when we stretch beyond what feels familiar to us. So today I want to challenge the idea that starting over means failure. It doesn't. Some people view a new beginning as evidence that something went wrong. I see it differently. Starting over often means you've learned something valuable. You've gained wisdom. You've gained perspective. You've discovered what matters and what doesn't. So imagine trying to navigate a road trip using an outdated map. At some point, you're going to realize that the map no longer reflects reality. So you wouldn't continue driving in the wrong direction simply because that's where you started out. You would need to adjust. You would need to reroute. You would move forward with better information. And life is no different. Changing direction isn't failure, it's intelligence. So, one of the most remarkable things about human beings is our ability to reinvent ourselves. So, history is filled with people who achieved extraordinary things, often after setbacks. Authors whose manuscripts were rejected dozens of times, entrepreneurs whose businesses failed before succeeding, athletes who suffered devastating injuries but just came back stronger. So, the common thread isn't luck, it's resilience. And it's a choice, and they chose to continue. They chose to believe that one chapter did not define the entire story. So neither should you. I recently heard a quote that said, every next level of your life will demand a different version of you. So think about that for a moment. It's so true. The person you needed to be at 20 is not the person you need to be at 30 or 40 or 50. So life requires evolution. You change, things around you change. Yet many people resist that evolution because they fear losing their identity. Change is the only constant. Change is always happening. But growth isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more fully yourself and being more fully aware. So it's about shedding the expectations or fears and limitations that have accumulated over time. It's about asking important questions. So, what do I truly want? What matters most to me? What kind of life am I trying to create? And perhaps the most important question of all, if fear wasn't a factor, what would I do next? So, if you take fear out of the equation, that might make your decision a lot easier. Fear has a remarkable ability to disguise itself as practicality. It tells us we're being realistic. It tells us to wait. It tells us that the timing isn't right. It might tell us that we're too old, too inexperienced, too late, or too far behind. None of those is true. Yet when we look back on what we've done, we rarely regret the risks that we did take. We regret the opportunities we allowed fear to steal from us. We regret the conversations we didn't have, the dreams we didn't pursue, the chances we didn't take. Another truth about starting over is that it often requires letting go of something. So we cannot carry everything from one chapter into the next. Sometimes we need to release old habits. We need to release old beliefs, old expectations. Sometimes we even need to release the version of ourselves we thought we were supposed to be. And that can be very difficult. But it can also create space for new experiences, space for new relationships, new opportunities, and mostly new possibilities. So, one of my favorite reminders is that life is not a straight line, it's not linear, it's a series of seasons. And there are seasons of growth, seasons of waiting, seasons of challenge, seasons of abundance. And no season lasts forever. And I think that's important to remember. So, if you're in a difficult season right now, remember that it is exactly that, just a season, not the life sentence. So if you're in a season of success, enjoy it while continuing to prepare for what comes next. Because change is one of the few guarantees that we do have. The question isn't whether change will come. The question is how we'll respond to it when it does. Because change will come. Will we resist it or will we embrace it? Will we view it as an ending or as an opportunity? So the older I get, the more convinced I become that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite fear. It's taking the next step even when the entire path is invisible, even if you can only see a glimmer of it. It's trusting the clarity that often comes after action, not before. Many people wait until they feel ready. But what is readiness? Readiness is overrated. Most of us weren't ready for the biggest moments of our lives. We became ready by experiencing them, by navigating them, by growing through them. So, right now, if you're standing at a crossroads today, wondering whether it's time to start over in some area of your life, I want to encourage you. And you don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to have all of the answers now, and you don't need a perfect plan. You just simply need the willingness to take the next step. So just taking that first step, that's the start. One step, then another, then another. And then momentum has a way of creating clarity. So before you know it, you'll look back and realize that once what felt terrifying became the very thing that transformed your life. So I want to leave you with this. You are not defined by your setbacks. You are not defined by your losses. You are not defined by the chapters that ended. You are defined by your willingness to keep writing new ones. So, no matter where you are today, there's still time. You're never too old or too late or too unprepared. There's always time to learn, time to grow, time to dream, time to begin again. So, if today's message resonated with you, share it with someone who may need the reminder that new beginnings are possible. Take care of yourself, trust the process, and remember, the best chapters of your story may still be ahead. Thank you for joining me on Your 18 Now What. If you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, and visit our website for additional resources and financial education tools. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep building the future you deserve. And remember, be invaluable for what you share, not what you know. See you next time on Your 18 Now What, where you can always find the latest podcast to listen to, follow, share, and subscribe. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you.